Hello everyone. Today, we will learn about the composition and classification of floor slabs together. First, let's understand a few basic concepts. What is a floor slab? What is the ground slab layer? And what is meant by a floor or ground layer? This is a two-story house. We can see that the horizontal component dividing the first and second floors is called the floor slab layer. And in this house, the horizontal component that directly contacts the soil layer is called the ground slab layer. Therefore, the floor ground layer includes both the floor slab layer and the ground slab layer. It is the collective term for both. So we know that the collective term for the floor slab layer and the ground slab layer is the floor ground layer. What are the functions of the floor slab layer? We can see that without this floor slab layer, without this horizontal component, how would the first and second floors be separated? There would be no way to separate them. Therefore, the floor slab layer serves the function of dividing space. The floor slab layer not only has to bear its own weight, but also the loads from usage. We can see in the image, including loads from tables, chairs, sofas, bookcases, and so on. These loads are then transferred to the walls or columns. In addition, the floor slab layer provides horizontal support to the walls and columns. Under horizontal loads, the floor slab layer provides support. So what are some examples of these horizontal loads? For instance, wind loads or seismic loads. Next, let's look at the basic components of the floor slab layer. The floor slab layer is composed of 4 parts: the surface layer, the structural layer, the ceiling layer, and the additional layer. Among them, the basic components are the surface layer, the structural layer, and the ceiling layer. Let's take a look at the first image together. This is a prefabricated reinforced concrete floor slab. Among them, the top layer is our surface layer. In the middle is our structural layer, which uses prefabricated reinforced concrete hollow slabs and serves the purpose of bearing weight. At the bottom is our ceiling layer. In the other image, we can see that this is a reinforced concrete floor slab with a surface layer and a structural layer. What does this structural layer include? It's composed of a structure made up of plates and beams. Moving downwards, we have our additional layer, which serves the purpose of sound insulation. Below that is our ceiling layer. Let's take a closer look at each component. The surface layer is also known as the floor surface or ground surface. It serves functions such as protecting the floor slab, distributing loads, and indoor decoration. The structural layer is also called the floor slab. It is usually composed of beams, slabs, or arches, and bears the loads of the entire floor slab layer, primarily playing the role of load bearing. The ceiling layer is what we commonly refer to as the ceiling. When we look up, we see the ceiling layer. The ceiling is also the lowest part of the floor slab layer. It serves functions such as protecting the floor slab, installing lighting fixtures, concealing various horizontal piping and equipment, and decoration. The ceiling can be constructed using direct plastering, as we can see here with the directly plastered ceiling, or by adhering ceiling materials, or by installing suspended ceilings in various forms. The additional layer is not a basic component of the floor slab layer. The additional layer is also known as the functional layer. Depending on certain special requirements, it can be designed to fulfill functions such as sound insulation, waterproofing, thermal insulation, heat preservation, and electrical insulation. It is also an indispensable part of modern floor slabs. Next, let's take a look at the types of floor slabs. Floor slabs can be classified based on the materials used, including wooden floor slabs, brick arch floor slabs, reinforced concrete floor slabs, and composite floor slabs made of pressed steel plates and concrete. Let's first take a look at wooden floor slabs. Wooden floor slabs are constructed with diagonal braces set between wooden gratings. So, what are wooden gratings? And what are diagonal braces? Let's take a look at this picture together. We can see strips of wooden beams. These are our wooden gratings. Between the wooden beams, there are cross-shaped diagonal braces installed. So, this is what we refer to as a diagonal brace. Our diagonal braces and wooden gratings form a stable framework, ensuring the integrity of the structure. The wooden boards nailed below and above the wooden gratings constitute our overall wooden floor. This wooden floor is composed of 3 parts. Let's take a look at each one separately. The wooden boards laid below the wooden gratings serve as our ceiling. Thus, our diagonal braces and wooden gratings together form the structural layer. The wooden boards nailed above the wooden gratings constitute the surface layer. This type of floor construction is simple, lightweight, and has a low thermal conductivity. However, wood is susceptible to corrosion when exposed to water. Therefore, it has certain corrosion properties and is prone to burning when exposed to fire. Its fire resistance is poor, and it consumes a large amount of wood. As a result, it is rarely used nowadays. Next, let's take a look at the second type, the brick arched floor. The brick arched floor is constructed by first installing prefabricated reinforced concrete beams on walls or columns. Between these beams, bricks are laid to form an arch, creating the floor structure. Such a floor does not consume wood, thus saving wood resources. It also saves a lot of steel reinforcement and cement, and the construction cost is relatively low. However, its load-bearing capacity and seismic resistance are quite poor. The space occupied by the structural layer is large, and the ceiling is uneven. The construction process is also relatively complicated. Next, let's take a look at the reinforced concrete floor. The reinforced concrete floor boasts high strength, excellent stiffness, durability, and fire resistance. It offers good plasticity and is convenient for industrialized production. It is currently the most widely used type of floor. Reinforced concrete floors can be classified into 3 types based on construction methods: prefabricated assembled floors, monolithic cast in situ floors, and assembled monolithic floors. Currently, the most widely used type is the monolithic cast in situ floor. However, the assembled monolithic floor is being actively promoted and developed. Next, let's take a look at the composite floor, made of profiled steel sheets and concrete. This type of floor uses profiled steel sheets as lining plates, meaning they serve as the bottom formwork, and are cast in situ with the concrete resting together on steel beams to form a monolithic floor. Advantages: the profiled steel sheets provide both the permanence of cast in situ concrete and the dual functions of formwork and tensile reinforcement. At the same time, they serve as the working platform during construction, simplifying the construction process and speeding up the construction schedule. This lesson on the composition and classification of floor systems is concluded. Thank you.